On today's show,
we take a long, hard look in the mirror and debate whether the Raptors need to blow it up.
we debate who the Cavs would rather face in the conference finals and if the Sixers have a shot against the Celtics.
And which series ends tonight? The Rockets Jazz, Warriors Pelicans, or both?
It's Tuesday, May 8th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, sweet world, and welcome to The Starters, presented by Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey. Whether you're joining us live right now on NBA TV, watching later on YouTube, maybe listening to the podcast, doesn't matter. We're happy to have you. I'm Jay Skeets, and alongside me, as always, that's Tess Mellis.
Thank you for joining us.
Two is right. It's the international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friend.
Lily, and last, certainly not least, over yonder, it's a man who got pooped on by a bird today. It's Trey Kirby.
Ow!
Hey, yo! TK, what's up?
Yeah, a little poop on the shoulder, a little poop on the head. It's good luck, supposedly. Sounds made up to me, but I'm here at the internet looking for your best tweets at hashtag the starters. Last night, Ian Eagle and Brent Barry were on the call for Cavs Raptors. We love those guys, some of the best in the game. And last night, both of them worked in some excellent movie references.
I think I found out the secret. I found this really in LeBron James' locker.
James gives it up. Thompson swatted away by Valanciunas. Do not go in there.
LeBron James is Thanos and Jonas Valanciunas is Ace Ventura, as Billy Madison would say. That's quacktastic. And it brings us to today's question. What are some movie references that you use during NBA games? For instance, I feel like a lot of people probably use the Anchorman. That escalated quickly. That really got out of hand during a blowout. But maybe not as many people use the Austin Powers "Fat Bastard Left a Floater" anytime somebody shoots a floater, but I do. And of course, anytime somebody gets hit in the face with a pie, you gotta hit him with the Mrs. Doubtfire. Hello! It doesn't happen a lot in NBA games, but if it does, we'll be ready. Nonetheless, we want to hear from you. So let us know on Twitter, what are some good movie references that you use during NBA games? Send us your best tweets to hashtag the starters. We'll hear from you later.
All right, get your tweets in. We should point out, it wasn't Ian Eagle as the bird that
It's not
pooped on
that bird.
you. Yeah, okay.
Well, I don't know. I never saw the bird, to be honest with you. It just was fire from above.
Okay. On tonight's show, we got a fun show lined up. We're going to discuss the 76ers' chances of actually making this a series against the Celtics. We'll debate whether or not the Rockets or the Warriors, maybe both of them, can close out their series on TNT tonight. We got Lely's very solid play. But let's start with a little true or false playoffs edition. And I'm sure you have an idea of what two teams we're talking about here. TK.
Despite finishing with the best record in the Eastern Conference and setting a franchise record for wins for the third straight season, the Cavs eliminated the Raptors from the postseason, and for the second straight year, it was a sweep, as LeBron and the Cavs have now won 10 straight playoff games against Toronto. No Canadian politeness allowed. True or false? The Raptors should blow it up.
Here's the question of the day.
The question LeBron forces every single season us to talk about. No, I don't think they should blow it up. LeBron is so good. He just doesn't allow teams to come out of the Eastern Conference. The Raptors got good at a bad time when it comes to LeBron's greatness. LeBron's peak here, since 2011, when the Mavs really taught him a lesson, the only two teams that beat him in the playoffs are the Warriors and the Spurs. And that's it. No Eastern Conference team has beat him. So does that mean you should just dismantle a good team? I don't really buy it. I mean, they have this nice little package of 2 years where all their players are signed for up until 2020. Why not ride it out? You've got a good bunch. Maybe LeBron goes to the West, and you can find a way to get to the finals. I just don't see the reason to say, hey, let's tear it down. Tinker, of course, but I don't see the reason. I mean, are they going to get a heck of a lot better by selling some of their parts? I don't get it.
The thing is, if you do blow it up, then there's no guarantee it's going to be better. If you look at what the Orlando Magic did when Dwight Howard wanted out, they said, all right, let's trade him and let's retool. And things haven't improved since then. Look at the Sacramento Kings. The Wolves have only just made the playoffs again. So it's fine and dandy to say and emotionally say, oh, well, that's it. We're never going to beat them. Let's see if we can trade in and get a new team and get some younger parts in there. But I think you don't just walk away from a team that's winning 50 games regularly like the Raptors have over the last 5 years. That wasn't what the franchise was for the first 20 plus years of their existence. Now they're actually having some success. So it's like, well, why don't we just try to keep on tweaking this lineup, try to keep adding parts and hope that one day we'll beat LeBron. LeBron's 33. So he's not going to be there forever.
Well, we keep saying that.
Wait him out.
But it's how they lost the series. Is that fair to say? Because
it's extremely disappointing.
We all sitting here, we picked the Raptors. We believed the hype, and they had home court advantage. And this was LeBron's worst team in a decade. And the East looked open because the Celtics were injured. Sixers are young. It's how they got beat, I think, by LeBron and the Cavs. That's the real issue here. You know, yeah, they almost won 60 games. Yeah, there was the culture reset, moving the ball more, shooting more threes. But at the end of the day, they got beat even worse, arguably, than they did last year. And I mean, more painful, I get it. There were some close games. But a Game 4 beatdown, a 35-point loss, that's just rough. And that's why people are saying, maybe you just got to do something. Now, and I agree with you. Because you see all the articles, blow it up. You can't bring this band back together because you got swept by LeBron again. But then the second line is usually, but what do you do? Because you said it, Tass. Their 4 main guys on the Raptors, they're locked up for the next 2 years. You know, if Valanciunas picks up his player option 2 years from now, there's a whole bunch of money there. So does that mean you trade a DeRozan or a Lowry? Or do you, and we can get to this, or do you move on from Coach Casey, which we've talked about, obviously, in years past?
Probably not the best trade value you can get right now for these Raptors either.
That's the other thing. I mean, who's going to want to take these guys and give up a significant asset in return?
Yeah.
Like an unprotected first-round draft pick or something like that. I
Well,
mean,
who has the most trade value of those 4 guys right there? We know it's not Serge. DeRozan because he's got more years.
Younger,
and
The youngest, the best.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's
But you
true.
think it would be silly to do that type of move?
Well, I think
that'd be blowing it up.
I think you have to tinker. I think it would be one of the bigs that you would trade first.
If you can.
Because, yes, if you can.
Right.
I assume that they can find a market for him, but yeah, you may have to attach an asset, just like they did with DeMare Carroll. That being said, those 2 guys aren't really modern-day bigs that can guard in the NBA, which is crazy to say about Serge Ibaka,
Right.
but it didn't work out, these last couple of years since they've gotten Serge. Jonas really struggled on the perimeter. And one of those 2 bigs, I think, would be best to move because they've got a guy on the roster or 2 who could fill in theory, and Jakob Poeltl and potentially Pascal Siakam.
Right.
And yeah, I'm disappointed in the way they lost totally, but that's why I don't fire Coach Casey, because it's on the players. I mean, if they capitalize in Game 1 when they should have, when they're playing the right way, and one of those guys hits a shot, if they finished off Game 3, then we're talking about a 2-2 series. I know that's a bunch of ifs, but we didn't expect these guys to sweep the Cleveland Cavaliers. So we expected them to get a series. We expected them to win a 4th quarter at home, which they were incapable of doing. Is that on Coach Casey? I don't buy it.
Well, we saw today, or heard from DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry today, both in Casey's corner. They love what he's meant to their progression as a player. They sound like they'd go to bat for him still. But you do wonder if you're going to keep the core together because you're even forced to, do you need a new voice? Is that the answer here? Do you just maybe need a new voice? And Casey has taken them as far as he can take them. He's done a great job, obviously, of the culture reset, as I said, and these young guys, but maybe that's as far as he can take you.
Yeah, he's kind of been in this position the last couple of years anyway, when the Cavs have eliminated the Raptors. And now, but this was the first year where it was actually expected the Raptors, in theory, could have beaten Cleveland. So maybe it is just that point where it's like, he's done an incredible job, most successful Raptors coach in history, but he's gotten to a point where perhaps it is time for someone new. I think he deserves at least one more chance. I think he's shown he can adjust, he can adapt, he can keep trying new things. But sometimes in the NBA world, it's like, you've had long enough, we need to just try a new voice and someone who's got new ideas maybe.
Or do you find a new voice in the locker room? Can you acquire a star player?
Okay.
I know that's reaching, and it's always tough to do. James Harden leaving Oklahoma City doesn't pop up quite often, but you never know.
Right.
Maybe Kawhi's on the outs in San Antonio, and you can deal a bunch of your
He doesn't
young
say
guys.
anything though.
He doesn't say. Yeah, that's true. Well, the way he plays, and he can guard LeBron one-on-one.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing. And they don't have a good matchup defensively for the Cavs, year in and year out. At the same time, LeBron's getting older. Kevin Love isn't gonna, be that number 2 guy forever.
Yeah.
And maybe I know I'm reaching, but every single team in the Eastern Conference has done that year after year after year, and it's not just making an excuse for the Raptors. LeBron's going to his 8th straight conference finals. He's probably headed to the 8th straight finals. No disrespect to the Celtics or the Sixers. That's the beast of the East.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just as easy as saying they just ran into LeBron and that was it. Because in Game 4, especially, you had George Hill getting wide open dunks and them just losing him in transition. Kevin Love caught fire over the last 3 games, got back to, and then credit to him, but, it's one thing if it's just LeBron beating you, which it felt like in the Pacers series. Can we all agree with that? It felt like he sort of single-handedly beat the Pacers. That wasn't the case here in the Raptors series. It was Love and it was Hill, and at times it was JR and Korver.
But how much of that is LeBron getting these other guys involved?
Of course, ultimately you're trying to go through LeBron,
Yeah.
but I think you can live, again, I just go back to them getting swept. If this is a 6 or 7 game series and LeBron just did crazy Michael Jordan-like things, then you can live with that. But it wasn't the case, and especially with Game 4, where then Casey was panicking.
By Game 4, though, I mean, they were just trying to hang on anyway. I mean, the series was gone by that point, losing by 35. I mean, what was the best case scenario? They extended by a game. They'd lost this series basically by losing those first 2 games home. Probably that first game. That was when it was over from the Raptors. You know, game 2, you could just tell mentally they were gone. They were in trouble. They fought back sort of a little bit in game 3, tried to extend that game, but...
So you don't think we have a Hawks situation here where, you know, they ran into LeBron, they couldn't get by him.
Well, if you
they
look,
were a 60-win team, and then they got rid of everybody.
And you look at where they are now, and they're back in the lottery, and they're going to get a high draft pick, but how long until they are competitive again? Whereas if you're the Raptors, I wouldn't want to be in that situation when you've won 59 games this season. I would try to at least another couple of years while you've still got these guys under contract, and they're still all-star players.
I think the big question, too, though, is can you win a championship or even get by LeBron in the East if DeRozan and Lowry are your best players? They're your all-stars, but are they on that superstar level enough to sort of take over games when things start to go bad, as they did in that series?
Yeah, they find a star player. Does it come internally, or are you just never going to beat LeBron James?
Sign him. Sign LeBron. He
Okay,
loves
yeah,
Toronto.
LeBron, come to Toronto. LeBron, come to Toronto. And come on back. Back with the starters, time for some fill-in-the-blank fun. Playoffs edition. TK, take it away.
TJ McConnell got his second start of the season last night, then went out and scored a career-high 19 points to get the Sixers their first win of the series, while also earning a favorable comparison to a young John Stockton from our own Lee Ellis. No NBA team has ever come back from 3-0 down, so fill in the blank. The 76ers have a blank chance of winning this series.
1%. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
So you're
not,
saying there's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance. Yeah, not likely. I mean, you said it there, Trey. No team down 3-0 has ever come back. What are we up to? Like 130 teams have taken a 3-0 lead now after the Cavs did it against the Raptors, and 130 times they've eventually won it. That's at 1% because it's crazy heading into Game 5 here in Boston. The Sixers are still favored. They're favored to win that game. Yeah, the Celtics as an underdog, which is surprising because they haven't lost at home.
Yeah.
I like the TJ McConnell move. That did give them a boost there, a little bit of energy, as Coach Brown talked about. But the Celtics are going to win one of at least their next 2 games if it went to 7 at home. So 1%.
Someone's going to come back from 3-0 one day. Someone's going to beat LeBron James one day.
Yeah, right.
So I'm elevating it to 5%, which is probably a little too high. But the TJ McConnell insertion into the lineup, I think it took a little bit of pressure off Ben Simmons to move off the ball a little bit. TJ was that spark, guarding 94 feet quite often, forcing the Celtics to start their offense just a little bit later, which helped out. And Terry Rozier had a bad game. I think the Sixers were just a little bit more strategic in this game. They tried to get Jason Tatum tired on the defensive end by getting Dario Saric to go at him, instead of like Joel Embiid going at Aaron Baines, who doesn't do much on the offensive end. Jason Tatum, I think, was struggling a little bit on the offensive end. So I don't know why they're favorites, but for some reason, I don't know if it's just a knee-jerk reaction, I feel a heck of a lot better about the Sixers, probably because they won a game.
I said they got a puncher's chance because historically, no, they've got no chance. But Brett Brown did make some changes, and they worked, and I expect he'll probably start TJ McConnell again.
Don't you expect Coach Brad Stevens to have a counter, though?
Probably will, yeah.
Right.
But the Sixers probably feel like, hey, listen, we can beat. I know that you say, well, no team's come back from 3-0, but it's 3-1 right now. They only have to win one more game right now to extend the series, bring it back to Philadelphia. Maybe it'll happen. I think Boston are going to close it out, but at least you like the way that Philadelphia did fight. They made some changes, it worked, so it gives them some confidence at least going into Boston, where they have played actually okay.
Yeah.
And Boston in closeout games is 1 and 2 this season. So there's a chance for them, but it's going to take pretty miraculous stuff for them to pull off the entire victory and win the series.
Yeah, the 76ers did have like an advantage in all like those hustle and like sort of smart type of stats. You had offensive boards. 76ers beat them in Game 5. Or what are we at? Game 4 or 5? I can never remember with all of these conferences. Beat them in Game 4 to obviously, that makes sense to extend it. They took care of the ball a bit better than the Celtics did, and they got more points in the paint. Both teams shot poorly in Game 4. Sixers had 19 more shot attempts.
Yeah.
I mean, they just had more chances to score the basketball. So that energy, they're going to obviously try and their backs are still against the wall, but I think Boston will be ready to counter that.
Yeah, in a Game 7. If it were talking about extending it to 7 games, I think my percentage would be something like 35. I think there'd be a legitimate chance, but 7 in the 7th game that's going to be tough.
Trey, next one.
All right, the Cavs were the last team to advance to the second round of the playoffs, but after sweeping the Raptors, they're the first team in the conference finals. Cleveland beat Boston 2 out of 3 in the regular season and tied their season series 2-2 with Philly. So Philly in the blank. The Cavs' preferred conference finals opponent is blank.
Who you got?
Irrelevant.
Whoa. Wow.
Now, I'm not saying that the Cavs are definitely going to beat whoever they play, but they're going to go in as the favourites. Definitely the Cavs are favourite no matter what. Even though they're going to have home court advantage, Boston or Philadelphia, you just know that mental hurdle of getting over LeBron is what's going to really challenge these other two teams because they're both young and inexperienced. Even though Boston made the conference finals last year, Tatum and Brown and those guys are still young players. Having to beat LeBron in a conference finals when you have home court advantage, that's a lot of pressure on a young team. So, LeBron doesn't care. He's going to go out there and feel he can beat whoever he's up against. So he doesn't really care. He just wants to go out there and make the finals again.
Yeah, I threw Philly down because it feels like the Celtics are a more cohesive unit. You just said, Skeets, that Philly didn't even shoot all that well in that game. They shot 40%. They still won. But they kind of get in each other's way a little bit. And I think the Celtics have better matchups for LeBron James. And Shemi Ojeleye, I think you could throw on him. Marcus Morris, that's a good matchup.
Yep.
A decent enough matchup. Jaylen Brown, if he's feeling healthy. Not that anyone can guard him, but it just feels like a better unit. And I think the coaching factor comes into play too.
I agree with you. I went 76ers, I guess. I'm taking a bit of both of yours. It is a little irrelevant. I don't think LeBron's worried about whoever he plays. I mean, he was asked this last year. Hey, would you rather play the Celtics or Wizards? He said it didn't matter. But I'll go 76ers because, in theory, they would have to come back here. It would elongate that series, and LeBron would get more rest. So maybe they'd prefer that. They would just have more time off to get LeBron some rest, get ready for whoever they're playing. But that would be the only reason. Final one, Trey.
Speaking of the rest, the Cavs have played every other day since April 25th. So as we found out after Game 4, LeBron is pretty excited about that rest.
Oh, we're about to get some rest. Oh, I'm definitely about to get some rest. We probably won't play it probably until this weekend, so I'm going to get a lot of rest.
Fill in the blank. LeBron should blank in his time off.
Watch Cobra Kai. Yeah.
What?
It's the Karate Kid new series. It's out and it's on YouTube Red.
Are you getting paid for this?
No, I'm not. I
Okay.
should. But
Hashtag
You're saying it like you are.
That's not only just a great series, but it'll get LeBron in the right mind frame as well.
okay.
He'll prepare his mind and his body, and he'll have a few laughs. It's a comedy drama. It's fantastic. Go and do it.
I'll stick on the movie kick. I want him to see the Avengers.
Yeah, that's what I
Like
went.
you guys have been talking about.
Yep.
Then I want him to go on uninterrupted and give me the breakdown because I'm not going to go watch it.
You're not going to go see it.
Probably not.
You're not a big
just
comic
don't.
book guy?
No.
Superhero movies? No, don't care for them.
I'm in the yes, but no, I'm not going to see it. Last movie I saw was Shape of Water. It's been a while.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great flip.
If you're into fish. I went with the same thing, like
Is
you
it a
said.
fish?
I don't-
Anyways, go ahead.
Is it a fish? I haven't seen it.
Sorta.
Is that a spoiler?
Half fish, half man.
Okay.
Anyways, go on.
Yeah, no, go see Infinity War. I want to see it. I've been talking about it all week. Got
Go
the
with
playoffs
LeBron
on.
then. Go watch it with him.
Ah, good idea.
Yeah.
He's probably already seen it. You know,
think?
like I got like an early copy, something like that.
You might want to watch it again.
All right.
A couple of bros.
The Starters is brought to you by Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey, official partner of the NBA.
What you got? Playoffs edition time. TK, let's look ahead to tonight.
All right, both the Rockets and Warriors lead their series 3-1, and they both got Game 5s tonight. Houston will look to close out the Jazz and send Chris Paul to the conference finals for the first time. After that, Golden State will try to end things against the Pelicans and send Swaggy P to the conference finals for his first time. Which series ends tonight? The Rockets, Warriors, or both? What you got?
I think the Rockets finish it off. I think the Warriors do too, but the Rockets have a better shot because they didn't shoot all that well and still won in Game 4. Their lowest three-point percentage of the season, so you'd think they'd bounce back shooting the ball, 24%. James Harden had a bad game, 8 of 22. They still won. And then his foil, Dante Exum, is out this game as well because of the hamstring injury. They lost their last home game, Game 2 at home. So I think they'll bounce back.
Yeah, the Jazz have kind of been punching above their weight kind of all season and now in the playoffs as well. No Rubio, no Exum. Favors is kind of banged up as well. I think it's just going to catch up with them a little bit. And also the Rockets know what's at stake here. They want to close this out as soon as they can. James Harden and Chris Paul have both been in this situation where you should have advanced and they haven't been able to do that.
Yep.
Chris Paul talked about it with Kristen Ledlow after the game there. You know the Rockets are like, let's just finish this off and hope that the Pelicans can extend that series. I don't think they will be able to, but you know that the Rockets are just focused on getting to the conference finals and getting ready for the Warriors on the weekend.
Yeah, I think both actually end tonight. And I think the Jazz and Pelicans have had very successful seasons.
Yep.
And to take a game off both of these two teams is pretty impressive as it is. So no shame in losing in 5 to these juggernauts that have sort of been destined to meet since what feels like November in the Rockets and Warriors. So I'm with you guys. And the Rockets and the Warriors, they're both getting better. And have figured out, I think, the teams they're playing in both respective series a little bit as it's moved on here, too. So I do think it'll be fun to watch, like, if the Rockets take care of business in the first game, are the Warriors more in tune to really go and close it out because they want to be right there on the same rest schedule as the Rockets to be. But I'm going both tonight as a wrap.
And there's a lot of talk about the Warriors and their death lineup and starting those 5 guys and how they came out and destroyed the Pelicans last game. But their defense is playing incredibly well. The Pelicans shot so poorly from three-point land and from the floor in that game. So, yeah, they're flowing on both ends. The Rockets weren't flowing on the offensive end. I think they bounced back.
Yeah. Trey, what is the answer? Rockets, Warriors, or both?
Oh, it's got to be both this time. We're seeing Avengers Wednesday night, which means we need to keep Thursday open for Survivor. It's a vicious cycle of watching things other than basketball. Please help us out. My DVR is struggling.
All right, let's hear from you guys. You agree with TK on Twitter, # the starters. Final break when we return. Lille's very solid play.
Got a little twist to it.
Yeah, I'm excited for this.
It's like the Avengers.
Back with the starters. 40 games in 40 nights. It continues. 2 games on TNT tonight. Jazz and Rockets, Pelicans and Warriors. Yes, as we talked about, Rockets and Warriors trying to close out their series in 5. But don't go anywhere. Coverage for both of these game starts with Game Time on NBA TV coming up next. Trey, we asked the people out there movie references for NBA games. What do you got? They hit us up on Twitter, # the starters.
Got some good ones. Our buddy Ro Parrish from the warm-up writes in to say, it's pretty. It's so pretty from White Men Can't Jump. Comes up quite a bit, I'm sure. Ray says, smoking after another LeBron fadeaway against LeBronto. Love the mask, but my favorite answer comes from Omri, who says, we're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Ozzy. That's when you're getting ready to watch Lee Ellis and his magical VSPs. We've got the most magical VSP coming right up.
Oh, man.
What a segue.
Sure do. Yeah, well, look, a couple of people lately have been saying that the very solid plays haven't been very solid.
Whoa.
They obviously don't realize there's hardly any games on at the moment, but look, this is a very solid play here. But I've decided to sexy it up a little bit by using the Intel 360 to really break it down here. Here's Kevin Love.
Are you going to jump into the screen like Kenny Smith?
We don't quite have the budget for that yet, but next season maybe I'll act them out. But here it is. Look at this. A beautiful angle. Then you can see how far back Kyle is for a swish bomb. That's what I call a very solid play.
Very solid indeed. Yeah, we need to put you into the screen. Thumbs up right there.
Please.
That'd be awesome. The Starters Twitter show. It was a blast. Thanks to everyone that joined us live. You can now go and watch and listen to it, download it, do whatever you got to do. It's available, and it was a blast. Tomorrow, we're back 6:30 p.m. Eastern, break down the games, and we'll have a guest named Steve Smith.
Woo!
Former basketball player, former football player, former cricket captain.
Former cricket
You'll
captain,
have to tune in to find out which one. What?
Hopefully he's on the show, too.
Race the night, people.